how it all began. Almost 14 years ago, peaceful protests against Bashar al-Assad's rule in Syria's southern city Daraa. A violent government crackdown ensued and protests spread across the country. The second phase saw a change in the anti-government movement. Weapons flowed in and a more organized armed insurgency took shape. Countries took sides and funded various different groups. In 2012, the battle moved to Aleppo, dividing the city in two, the government west and rebel-held east. The same year, the group Jabhat al-Nusra, now the rebranded Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and the one that has led the fight from Idlib all the way to Damascus, announced that it had become al-Qaeda's Syria franchise, while the Iranian-backed Hezbollah also entered the Syrian conflict on the side of the government. 2013, impossible to forget. The Syrian government's chemical weapons attack on Eastern Ghouta, it shocked the world. And the rise of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, racing across northeastern Syria and Iraq, leaving killings, kidnappings and horror in its wake. The formal announcement of the creation of the Islamic State across Syria and Iraq came in 2014. It imposed its brutal rule on nearly 8 million people. A year later, with Damascus hanging by a thread, Russia entered the fold, unleashing intense and devastating airstrikes, crucial in undoing rebel gains. The Americans, together with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, took on ISIL in both Syria and Iraq. Turkiye took on a more visible role in 2016, deploying along its border with Syria and launching attacks on ISIL, but also, what was and is Ankara's main concern, the Kurdish YPG, which now holds large swathes of territory along Turkiye's border. Over the next years, positions became entrenched and the guns somewhat fell mostly silent. Millions of Syrians displaced outside their country and internally too. Then the region started to undergo momentous change following Hamas's attack on Israel on October the 7th and the start of the war on Gaza. The day after a ceasefire was declared in Lebanon, a whirlwind push by rebel groups from their stronghold in Idlib began. City after city fell, and in less than 2 weeks, the rule of Bashar al-Assad and decades of the Assad dynasty was over. Stephanie Dekker, Al Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.